Welcome to our project analysis, and today we have Elta. So Elta is a project in the Clementi area, and many of you may know that in Clementi area the projects tend to have a very good profit amount. So many of you may also wonder why Elta. Elta is inspired by the concepts of elevation and grandeur. Elta combines the essence of elevated and the word alta, which means high. So Clementi developments usually tend to be very tall, and this is why the name is as such. If you want to stay connected with me, do join my Telegram channel. I do have updates for bounce style units, property market advice, things that I usually don't cover in my YouTube, as well as some good deals of fire sales. So many of you may be aware that recently there's been a fire sales for 1 Burnham. So I had a transaction there, and one of my buyers enjoyed a very good entry price. So join my Telegram community where I'll keep you updated for the latest hot deals. Also, before we begin, I also want to have a disclaimer that any prices stated here are not official. So these are just my thoughts on what could be the prices for the various unit types. So some key details. So for the developer is MCL. Many of you, may be very familiar with this developer. They are behind Park Esta and all of the projects that tend to do well. And many of you know that Park Esta did very, very well. They're also behind Nava Grove, the recent launch in November, along with the 5 other launches in fact. And CSC Land, so usually they are more of a builder background. So the preview date is on the 7th of February, so from the afternoon, and the booking day will be on the 22nd of February. So do contact me if you like to explore if this is the right fit for you, because not all projects are suitable for your needs, and I think I'm more than happy to explore if this project is the suitable one for you. Okay, so right now we are looking at the project info. So what we are looking at is there's 2 blocks of 39-story residential with 1 basement and 3-story multi-story car park. So do not worry, because a multi-story car park usually people have the alarm bells ringing around them, because Tembusu Grand is one of the developments where the multi-story car park is a contentious point, as well as Hill Haven also have a multi-story car park. But don't worry, I'll explain to you why a multi-story car park may not be a bad thing for this development. So there's swimming pool and communal facilities as standard for most condos. So District 5 is a district that has a lot of profit margins. I'll go through later with you. Then there's also 501 residential units with about 400 car park lots, 5 EV charging lots. Land tenure is 99 years, and the land size is about 144,788 square feet. So yeah, then I think that's more or less it for the project information. Okay, so developer track record. So just now I was going through with you guys. MCL Land, we have Nava Grove, Tembusu Grand, Copen Grand, Piccadilly Grand. Completed projects Park Esta, Leiden Green and Margaretville. So for CSC, they have Park Greenwich, and then we have Twinview and Verdale. So these are some of the perspectives for Elta. As you can see, high-rise development, twin towers, 40 stories, Orie is similar. And the good thing here is that Clavon, Clement Canopy, all these projects also have, twin towers or 40 stories. Clementi projects, they tend to have a lot more floors. The reason behind this is because Clementi is an area where you tend to get good unblocked city views. So I think it's a good option to take advantage of that, and I think that's what the developer here is doing as well. So pretty much standard things. If you do need more information, please do reach out to me and I'll be happy to share with you more. So like what I mentioned earlier, this is the building dissection facilities. So you can see here that this is the multi-story car park, and the rest of the residential building is being built on top of it. So why I think this is okay is because you do not get any blocked view because of this multi-story car park. So in terms of this, I think the multi-story car park may not be a contentious point like how it was for Tembusu Grand or Hill Haven, where some of the units there might tend to get blocked by the multi-story car park. For here, I don't think it's a bad thing. So the developer has factored in that as well. So the rest of that details are pretty standard, nothing out of the ordinary, and it's a typical 40-story development. Okay, right now we have the building distance. So you can see that the distance from some of the blocks, some of the stacks to the Clementi Avenue 1, the school facing side, is about 47 meters, which I think is pretty decent. So you also see that the AYE side, you can see that it's about 56 meters, 50 meters. So just now I mentioned that there's a multi-story car park for Elta, right? So how this works in favor for us is because this multi-story car park is able to give us a good setback distance from the YE side. So if you're someone who's very particular about noise concerns, I think this helps. But definitely there will still be some noise, as you know, when you go for resale viewings in any of the developments, you do still get some noise. And the developer has done some acoustic blinds, acoustic panels on the ceiling. But even with this, you do still get some noise. And I think if you're someone very sensitive about noise, I don't think this may be a good option for you to consider the units that are facing the AYE side. But with the multi-story car park giving you some setback, I think it may help you. Okay, so this is actually the schematic chart. So it shows you how the units are distributed. So I also have shown how the units are distributed here. I'm not going through in detail about this. So you can see that the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom are noted by the different colors. So every floor there's a good mix of the various units as well. Okay, so this is the site plan. So you can see that these are the two towers, block 10, block 12, and so these are the different facings. So this is Clementi Avenue 1 and this is the AYE. So you can see that some of the bigger size units are facing the AYE side. So that's something that you may want to consider as well. So the rest of the facilities are pretty standard condo facilities, and I think usually for MCL, like what you can see from Park Esta itself, MCL tend to have very good facilities. So I do see some shades of Park Esta here as well. So I think MCL projects, they tend to have a certain direction they're going with their design, and I think usually Park Esta and Nava Grove has been well received. So I do think that this project also, the facilities will be well received by the general public as well. So you can see that the 1 bedroom plus study is about 7%, the 2 bedder is 35%, 3 bedder is 21%, 4 bedder is 28.5%, and 5 bedder is 7%. If you're someone who's very concerned about maintenance fees, so these are the maintenance fees as accordingly. So yeah, what I do want to highlight to you here is that the 2 bedder is the highest proportion here. So you can see that it's about 35%. So usually you may ask, why is the 2 bedder the most preferred unit type here? It's because nowadays family sizes are getting small. Usually nowadays the average household size is about 3, so parents plus 1 child. So what we see is that it makes sense for developers to prioritize this type of unit because family sizes are getting smaller, as well as there's an opportunity for investors to be part of the development itself as well, because usually for investment unit types you are looking at 1 bedder, 2 bedder. So as a developer, I think it makes sense that I go into this direction, and that's why we are seeing more emphasis on the 2 bedder being here as well. Okay, so these are some of the views that you're looking at. So for the west, you're viewing towards AYE, Clementi Stadium. So the north side, you're looking at, this is the view through Clavon's 37th story. So it's about a bit of a blocked view, but it's still very decent views as well. So I think these are some of the views that you're looking at. So you can see some of the views through Clement Canopy. So this is the view that's towards Nanhua High. So this is the actual site itself with all the different, demarcations as well for you to, take a look at. Okay, so here are the views in detail. So this is the ones facing side. So I'm not going to go through in detail with you. So yeah, so these are some of the views that you're expecting for Elta itself. So for amenities wise, Clementi is an area with plenty of amenities, a lot of good food. Clementi Mall, Clementi, hawker, as well as you can see Grantham Mall, Clementi Town Centre. This is where all the good hawker food is. I love the chicken rice there. So if you have a chance to check out the chicken rice, do go there as well. There's some of the Clementi Stadium, Clementi Swimming Complex. So I think amenities wise, pretty well connected. So that's one thing I want to show you. So connectivity is that the good thing about Clementi is that even though it's in the west, it's very well connected. So what do I mean by that? So what we're looking here is that Kent Ridge, you have access to Kent Ridge, you can go to One North. So if you're someone you're working at the One North area, it's a good option for you. You can go to Jurong East. Then if you want to go to the town side, it's not that far as well. By MRT, it's a few stops down and you will reach Tanjong Pagar. So if you're someone working in the CBD, Clementi is not a bad option at all. So I wanted to share with you some of the Clementi profile that we're looking at. So the households in Clementi, right, as of 2024, the total population in Clementi itself is about 102,390, with 71,100 people living in HDBs, and this represents 70% of the population. So why do I highlight to you this? Is because Clementi, there's a lot of $1 million HDBs. So if you're looking to buy a new launch, it's important to take a look at who are your future demand coming from. And the future demand here is coming from these $1 million HDBs that we are looking at. And in this township itself, you can see that most of the people here are living, in HDBs. And when these HDBs MOP, when they have, they decide they want to move into the private route, I think Elta will be a good option, because when Elta TOPs, it will be one of the newer projects that's available for all these HDBs to take a look at. So you can see that there's a greater prevalence of private property as well. So the HDB dwellers, right, is lower than the national average of 76.3% as compared to here, which is only 69.4%. So it shows there's a greater prevalence of the private property being, preferred in this location as compared to the national average. That's why in Clementi there's many developments: Clavon, Clement Canopy, Tri-Link, Park Clementis. So all these are developments that people have considered in the Clementi area as well. So there's also a sizable number of residents living in the condos, and there's a very small percentage living in the landed properties. So this is some of the data on the age group or the type of profile of the people living in Clementi. You can see it's a good mix because you don't see that a certain age group is dominating. So for instance, Toa Payoh, what I feel is that Toa Payoh do have a larger proportion of the senior citizens, but Clementi, you can see that different age groups, there's a good mix, that with no particular age group having a larger proportion. Okay, so one thing I wanted to also show with you is that there's this government cross-island transformation. So now you can see, right, the government is doing a lot more developments along the cross-island line. So you can see with Pasir Ris 8 in 2021, now with Town coming up in 2025 or in 2025, all these developments are also launching around the same period as Elta. Then you can see that there's recent news on the Hougang integrated development. So it's expected to launch somewhere next year. So that's also very exciting. And all this is why? Because all these are part of the cross-island line, and all these are stops along the cross-island line, and this is where the government is going, is the direction that they are taking to develop homes around these areas. So as an investor, it's important to take note of all this, because you need to know where's the good opportunities. And usually when the government is trying to develop certain areas, like for instance Tampines North is a good example, all these are opportunities for you because you can enter and then take advantage when you're looking to sell and make a good profit. Or rentability is there as well. So you can also see that there's a transformation of Turf City. So this is also the residential plots being announced, and all this in the cross-island line. So you can see that key residences, proven transaction. So the 3-bedroom here, profit margin of 491k. So it's a lot of opportunities for you if you are aware of where to seize them. And if you do want to know more, you can always reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to share. Lastly, Jurong Lake District. So this is something that everyone's well aware of. So I recently, 2 weeks ago, I went to the radio. I got a chance to speak about Lake Garden residences as well. So all this is exciting times if you're looking to enter into the market. So now it's the exciting part where we're looking at the Clementi project's appreciation. So you can see that 2-bedroom appreciation here for Clement Canopy, but you can see that the average gains is 33%, which is about 325k. Clavon also doing very well, 295k, and Park Clementis 372k. All this shows something to us. Why? Clementi is an area that is a good opportunity for you to have capital appreciation. So if you have no opportunity to go into Clementi to buy a property, I think now is a good time for you. And these are just examples and history of properties that already have transacted and got all these profit margins. So if you're looking to buy something in Clementi, Elta could be a good option for you as well. 3-bedroom as well, I think I'll just go through it in general. 39% Clement Canopy, Clavon also doing well, about 506k. Park Clementis about 38%, 688k. So all these are fantastic numbers for 3-bedroom. Now we're looking at the 4-bedroom. You can see that Clement Canopy 48%, Clavon 35% average gains, Park Clementis also 36%. 8 very, very good numbers if you're an investor looking to buy a property in Clementi area. Or if you're just looking for own stay as well, because many of times people do buy own stay properties thinking that I just want to get something that I like, but many do not know that you never know when you're looking to exit. And the last thing I want for you to happen is that you buy a property that didn't appreciate much. Even though you're buying something for own stay, it's a good option for you to take note of the profit margins, because it gives you, a look into the future of, in case for whatever reason. I know now you may say, hey, I'm just buying for own stay. I'm not looking to, sell it off anytime. But we never know, life circumstances may change. You may want to, go into a bigger property, or you may want to downsize. So I think all this is important to know, that you're buying into a project that's safe and has good transaction records with other developments in the area. Okay, so these are some of the overview of the condos in Clementi. The more private condos are located in the West Coast area and mostly are the aging developments. So you can see that these are all the West Coast area developments: Whistler, Grand, Twinview. I'm sure many of you may be familiar with that. We have Elta here, Clavon here, and Clement Canopy. So there's a handful that's located at Clementi Avenue 6 to Faber area, and then within the Clementi Central itself, there's only 3 plots at Clementi Avenue 1, so mainly what I've shared with you: Elta, Clavon, and Clement Canopy. So there's also a very limited land supply in Clementi. So this is some of the past launches. You can see that all these were fully sold eventually. So Tri-Link, Waterfront, Clement Canopy, Park Rivera, Park Clementi's, Clavon, Whistler Grand, Twinview. So upcoming, we have Elta, so it's previewing on 7th of February. We have Faber GLS, November 2024. So the land was tendered at this price. So it's also going to come up soon. Plots left within Clementi, not many. So one is for the 753 units BTO at Clementi Close. So it's a plus, so it's about 10 years MOP. And then there's a new BTO or a new integrated project. We are not aware. Let me go through with you that shortly. So, okay. Another thing is that there's a lot of ripple effect recently. So you may know that in November there was unprecedented 6 launches. We have Norwood Grand, we have Champa, we have Nava Grove, we have Emerald of Katong, we have the Orie. So what we see here is that all these were projects that were well received. 84%, 76%, even Nava Grove, which the location is not fantastic, did well because there's 65%. And what do we see is that during the October-November fever, right, many potential buyers, they end up buying some other projects if they didn't get a good queue number and then they didn't get the project that they want. So Emerald of Katong is one, so it's a crazy project, 99% so on the first day itself. Orie, also 86%, so most of the units remaining now is the 1-bed plus study as well as the dual key units. So these are some of the number of units. So you can see the 44 units here, 25 units in the different areas. So we can see that there's a spillover effect where people are buying other developments. So like what I mentioned, Emerald of Katong, people who didn't get a unit there, they tend to buy, Continuum because it's freehold and they have to top up a little bit more, then they get something that's freehold. Why not, right? So we're seeing this, ripple effect across the board. So these are some of the overview of the Clementi projects. Okay, so this is some of the overview of the Clementi projects. So I just wanted to give you a diagrammatic representation. So this is a Park Clementi's, Clavon, Canopy, Park Rivera, Twinview, and Whistler Grand on the West Coast side. So future development, so block HDBs 2-3 have already been on block, and then there's an integrated gold mine because people are saying that there's a chance for it to be integrated. We are not sure yet, so we will see how it goes. So this is the Cross Island line with Clementi Station, and this is where the SERS happened. So for the block 321 to 323, and then this is currently the Clementi Station, the green line. Okay, so Clavon and Clement Canopy is the developments that are just beside Elta, and how did they perform? So we can see that for UOL, right, they actually sold 70% of the units of Clavon on the launch weekend. And I just wanted to highlight to you something. It's during the COVID period. It's a period where people were very uncertain, and you can see that there was more fear and uncertainty, but it was still a very strong performance. So we can also see for Clement Canopy, a few years back in 2017, we can see that there's 80% sold on launch day itself. So what I want to show you is that Elta, now the interest rate has changed, it has lowered, as many of you may know. Many buyers we see are coming into the market. We see the market picking up. So would that mean that Elta may perform better? Time will tell, but my take is that Elta may perform better because of the lower interest rate environment. Okay, so now I come to the land bid price analysis. So you can see that MCL and CSC have submitted the highest bid of 1250 PSF PPR for this Clementi site. What I wanted to highlight with you is that some of the other projects that were harmonized, and what price did they launch at. So Lentor mentioned the developer bought the land at 985 PSF PPR. He launched at an average of 22XX per square foot. EOK 1069 per square foot PPR. The average is around 26, as we all know. A very hot project, 99%, so I still find it's crazy. Norwood Grand, I think 80% 904 PSF PPR. So about 2000 odd PSF in average. Orie, the recent one, 1360 PSF PPR at around 26XX per square foot. So These are the details of the Clementi Avenue 1 plot. So the key things I want to show you is that there were 6 bids. So what does this show you? It shows that there's a very high demand amongst the developers for this plot of land. And after factoring in all the land costs, construction, financing, professional fees, everything, we see that the estimated break-even price is already 2,156 per square foot. So what price will the developer launch at? We do not know. But with a 20% markup, we see, usually projects, they tend to have a 20% markup after the break-even. We're seeing at around 2,582 per square foot. This is something I may think that after marking up, this is the average price that it may transact at. But nowadays, I just wanted to show you a strategy that the developer is taking. The quantum is kept constant and the PSF is adjusted accordingly, so to be competitive with each other. Because as you all know, Orie just launched last month, and you can see that the 3-bedder compact 850 square feet mid-floor unit was already transacting at 2,600 per square foot, and the quantum came up to be about 2.21 million. So for Elta, 3-bedder compact, right, it's around 926 square feet. Sorry, there's a typo here. So 3-bedder. If you want to have the quantum, it's about 2.21 million. The PSF can afford to be at 24xx per square foot. So what I'm trying to show you here is that the developers, they try to adjust the size of the units, but they try to keep the quantum constant. So what they want to do is that they want to be competitive with each other. Because if I'm a developer and I'm launching now, I would use Orie as a gauge, and we know that Orie's, these were the prices that were accepted by buyers. So what happens here is that 850 square feet for a 3-bedder compact versus 926 square feet for a 3-bedder compact. The size is a little bit different. The Elta one is bigger. My take is that the developer would try to keep the quantum constant. So in terms of per square foot, it might come out with this price. So nowadays, you also see the developer, they tend to put starting from a certain number. So in this case, this could be a way to attract more buyers and get more checks in for this development. So how the developer price projects. So I just now went through with you Orie. So now we're using Orie as an example. So you can see that the difference between level 2 and level 40 itself, so the lowest and highest floor is 300 odd K. So I may be getting the same unit, same facing, but I may have to pay 300 odd K just because I may not have gotten a good number, but I may have gotten a high floor unit. So here are some key points that we're looking at. So, until level 22, you see a 8K floor jump. Level 22 to 26, we see a 5K floor jump. 27 to 28, we see 14K. 30 to 37, we see 6K. 37 to 38, there's just one additional floor, we see 12K, and level 39 to 40, we see 6K. So what I want to show you is that the pricing, we can say that, for simplicity, I may think that there's an average pricing of 4% premium. Yeah, so this is why the developer has done for Orie. So how we're going to use it to link to Elta is because Elta is a similar development that's about 40 stories high as well. The reason why I didn't use, Nava Grove, which is an MCL project, is because the location for Nava Grove is different. Nava Grove is not near the MRT, and Orie will be a better gauge because of the time that the project was launched. They are just 1 month apart. Whereas for Nava Grove, the times were different. The developer had to, compete with other projects like Trump, Emerald, Katong. My take is that the strategy is a bit different in that sense. So stay connected with me, do join my Telegram channel so you can get updates for bouncer units, property market, as well as good deals. And also do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be very, very thankful. So kamsahamnida. Okay, so now we're looking at the 1-bed plus study analysis. So what we see here is that it's a type A1S, so this is the stack. So it's a block 12, stack 10, 34 units, 7%. So it's interesting to know that it's a Clementi Avenue 1 facing. So what you can see is that it faces this way. So the estimated, price based on the different per square foot we are looking at is 1.21, 1.27, 1.32. So for my analysis, I've, taken the prices to be 24, 25, 26. Of course, there's 2 things to take note of. One is premium for facing. Another one is premium for floor jump. So as of now, I just want to, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to put it as this pricing, because as you know earlier, I mentioned that the break-even price was already 2.1 plus. So after factoring in the 20% markup, I don't think the developer is going to launch much lower than this, but if they do, I think it's a good opportunity. And do, reach out to me if you need a detailed analysis, and I'll be happy to share with you more. So this is a floor plan, pretty standard floor plan for a 1-bed plus study. So I'll just go through with you the next one. So one bed plus study, right? Rental is very important because the type of buyers here usually buy these kind of units to rent out. So what I want to show you is that low floor versus high floor using an example of Clavon. Okay, so one bed plus study rental analysis. So many of you may wonder, hey, should I buy a low floor? Should I buy a high floor? Does this all, matter if I'm looking at a unit here of this unit type? So what I'll show you here is that Clavon is a good example. Clavon, right, level 4 was rented at 3,006 in December 24, and level 27 was rented at 3,700 in December as well. So as you can see, level 4, level 27, 23 floors difference, $100 only. So if you were to use it to gauge for Elta, the one bedroom is about 506 square feet, like what I mentioned earlier, it's harmonized. So if you were to take an example of a monthly rental of about 3,006, is a very conservative estimate just based on current market. If you're looking at low floor, you buy a unit at about 1.21 million, you're getting a yield about 3.6%. If you're looking at a high floor unit, maybe let's say you buy something at 1.3, the rental is about 3.3%. So high floor, right, the rentability is there, but the yield may not be there. So if you're looking to rent it out as soon as possible, high floor units will be very suitable. But if you're looking at just by rental yield itself, I think it's not necessary you go for a high floor unit here in Elta. So another thing I wanted to highlight to you is that Clementi Canopy, right, there's no one bidder, and Clavon, there's 72 units, about 11.25%. So this is also important because it can show you what's the future looking like, because Clementi Canopy doesn't have one bidder, Clavon has this number of units. So it's important to know what your competitors are having and they do not have. So now we're looking at the 2-bedroom compact analysis. So there's two types. One is type B1, which is block 12, stacks 11. So 34 units, Clementi Avenue 1 facing. So as I've indicated here. So another one is type B2, which is block 12, stack 7, 7%, AYE facing. So this is going this way. Okay, so I highlighted to you earlier that the AYE facing, right, you will have the acoustic blinds and ceiling. So the noise is still to be expected. So if it's something very sensitive for you, again, I think you might want to factor this in. So what thing I really like about here is that the kitchen, right, for both these unit types is tucked in. So you can see the kitchen here as well as the kitchen here. So it's not common for older 2-bed 1-bath, because nowadays the developers, they're trying to maximize the space usage because of the harmonization rulings as well. So you can see that there's a good usage of space. Recently I've been serving buyers who are looking at enclosed kitchen, so they say they can walk, but okay or not, I think it's good that you can have an option for enclosed kitchen. So for B2 layout, I would prefer it slightly because it gives you a better privacy if you're standing somewhere in the middle here. So all these are the estimated prices. You can take a look. Anything you need, you just feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to assist you accordingly. Okay, so now we're looking at the 2-bed 1-bath resale comparison. So as you can see, Clavon is an example I have here. So what I want to show you is that there's not much difference in the floor plan, but the resale prices are almost similar. So what I want to show you here is that resale prices here 1.32, 1.27, 1.34 with the different floors . And you can see that for here, if you were to base on the estimated pricing, you're looking at 1.47 to 1.6, but this is definitely on the conservative estimate . So if you can get something around 1.4, is it worth paying the 80k more to buy for a new? That's something worth it because you're getting a project that's new. If you were to give an example in current market, you're looking at new car, old car, which one would you get? If it's me, I would choose to go for a newer property. Do you want to pay for other people's profit, or do you want to have your own? I think it's very important that you be the first owner in the project as compared to paying for other people's profit, because you get to enjoy some margins as well . Because if you were to buy resale Clavon at this pricing and you see there's an option for you to top up a bit more to go to a newer property, what would you choose? Okay, so now we're looking at the 2-bedroom premium analysis, type B2, stack 14, so I've indicated here as well. So this is facing the AY. Then the other one is the type B4P, stack 3, block 10. So it's also indicated here facing Clementi Avenue side. Both unit types, dumbbell layout. So this is also dumbbell, this is also dumbbell. Similar floor plans, not much difference here. Only difference is facing, and all the estimated prices are here for your reference as well. Okay, so 2-bed 2-bath and a resale comparison. Clavon is so the reason why I use Clavon instead of Clement Canopy is because Clavon is the one that's TOPing this year. So it's a better example because the resale buyers in the future, when they want to compare between Clavon, Clement Canopy, as well as Elta, which is the one that they would tend to go for more. I would think that if I'm a resale buyer in the future, I may want to, go into something that's a bit more newer because buying into older property, there's a bit of a risk because you may not know how much you can appreciate. So buying something that's a bit more newer will help. So Clavon would be the natural, progression because Elta will definitely be compared against Clavon, and hence the basis of my analysis will be based on Clavon. So buy Clavon subsale or buy Elta new? Common question, many of you may wonder. Not much difference in floor plans in itself. Also, the thing is I want to highlight is that resale prices are almost similar. What do I mean by that? You can see per square foot is around 2.1, the quantum is around 1.46, 1.668. You can see on the other side, 1.68, you can get a new Elta itself. So, I think this is a pretty no-brainer. If you get something that's a new versus an old, they're transacting at the same price, I will choose to go for new. But I do understand some of you may have concerns where, it's something that you need a space immediately, you want to, move in, you don't want to rent. And then I think in that case, you may want to consider Clavon itself. Okay, so now we have come to the 2-bed plus study analysis. So we have the type B5S, block 10, stack 6, 34 units as well, 7%. Interestingly, it's about 807 square feet. So if you were to look at Orie, right, Orie is only about 700 square feet for a 2-bed plus study. So we're looking at about 100 plus square feet difference. And it's actually facing the AYE. So Orie 3-bedroom is already starting from 850 square feet. So the important thing I wanted to highlight to you guys here is that what is the size difference to the next unit type? Because if you can top up a bit more and then go into a next unit type but a lower floor, is that something that you're willing to consider? Or would you still want to, stick to the 2-bed plus study? Because for me, how I advise clients is that it's important to take note of the prices that come out on the day itself, because sometimes you need to know how much more do I need to top up to go into the next unit type. Sometimes it may make sense to buy a lower floor unit in the next unit type because for a certain top up, you may get an additional one more bedroom. So it's something that's very important, and I think if you do analysis on all these things, do feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to assist you. So you can see here 926 square feet, 3-bedroom compact . So to the additional, go into this 926 compared to the current 807, we're looking at about 119 square feet. So you're paying about 300k more, then you get an additional one more bedroom. Is that something okay for you? Is that something that you're willing to consider? These are interesting things that we can take a look at. So Clavon, I wanted to highlight to you, there's no 2-bed plus study. But Clement Canopy also no 2-bed plus study. Park Clementi's 203 units, not apple to apple comparison because maximum per block is only 24 stories. Here we are looking at 40 stories. So location is also slightly different. So you can see that there's opportunity for investors because there is not many units of this 2-bed plus study in this area. So if you are an investor, I think it's something that will be the first pick that I'll be looking at because you're buying something there's not much supply in the area. Because next time in the future, buyers who may not be able to afford a 3-bedder, they may have to go for a 2-bed plus study. Then I think this is a very important thing and it's an opportunity for you because you are able to identify what the future demand is coming from. So this is where the units will be. It's an AYE facing like I mentioned earlier. So this is the floor plan and this is the quantum. Moving on to the next one. So again, stay connected with me. Do join my Telegram channel. So the reason why do bring this up time to time again is because the Telegram channel is a community that I aspire to nurture because property is something that's very close to me. I enjoy talking about property. You ask me work until 12 midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm happy to do so. So sometimes I'm very excited to share with all my subscribers. So I do think that it's something that I do really enjoy and I do want to reach out to the greater masses of people like yourself who may be watching this video. Also do like and subscribe to my YouTube as well. So it will mean a lot to me. So now we're looking at rentability. So 2-bed, 1-bedroom. We are always looking at rentability because most of the time people usually investors they may look at 2-bed 1-bath, they may also look at 2-bed 2-bath, low floor, high floor, expressway, non-expressway. Don't worry, I got you covered with all my analysis. So rentability, first things first, what will future tenants prefer? So we are not using Clement Canopy for comparison because like what I mentioned earlier, TOP day is different. So keeping all other factors constant, you see we have 2-bed 1-bath Clavon, we have 678 square feet, high floor, transacted in December 2024, non-highway facing 4,100. Clavon 2-bed 2-bath, 764 square feet, pre-harmonized as you all know. For Clavon, it's an older development. High floor itself, $4,600, December also, non-highway. So no facing difference. It's just 2-bed 1-bath versus 2-bed 2-bath. You can see there's a $500 difference in the rental. So what does this mean for you? So keeping all other factors same, 2-bed 2-bath commands $500 more. Rental yield 2-bed 1-bath, okay, if you were to use it on the purchase price that the Clavon owners bought it for 1.10 in 2020, the yield is about 4.47%. The rental yield for 2-bed 1-bath, 2-bed 2-bath. Sorry, there's a few typos, so do bear with me lah. So this is the purchase price 1.19 mil. You can see in 2020 the yield is about 4.64%. So you can see that there's a slightly better rental yield for the 2-bed 2-bath versus the 2-bed 1-bath. So if you were to extrapolate this to Elta, 2-bed 2-bath, assuming you buy something at a purchase price of 1.68 million, rental is about 4,600. It's a very conservative estimate. I'm just basing on today's market, and then we're looking at the rental yield about 3.3% lah. So you can see that it's more sellable. You can sell it faster because based on my experience in the resale market, we always see that 2-bed 2-bath, people buy that first before they look into a 2-bed 1-bath. Usually if 2-bed 1-bath caters to people who may not be able to pay for the extra premium, then they may go into a 2-bed 1-bath. So you can see that 2-bed 2-bath has its advantages because you are able to sell it faster, and the downtime, sometimes all these units are being rented out after the tenancy ends, the owner may decide to sell it off. The downtime is very important because sometimes you see that the unit is being kept vacant. Okay, 2-bed 2-bath, more sellable, you can sell it off faster. So there's also less downtime from the unit being vacant. So what do I mean by that? Because sometimes, right, all these units, they are rented out. Sometimes the lease expires. Then the owner may decide, hey, I don't want to keep renting out. I want to move into another property. I want to buy another new launch. Because end of the day, all this property, your name is being tied to it. So as a investor, you do not want to you keep footing the mortgage month to month. It's important that you buy a unit that's sellable as well lah. Okay, rentability, what would future rental tenants prefer lah? So you can see that Clavon 2-bed 1-bath, 678 square feet, high floor 4100. Clavon 2-bed 1-bath, 678 square feet, low floor, also 4100 in November 2024. So we were to use into Elta's 2-bed 1-bath, 614 monthly rent of 4,400. So it's similar to Orie's pricing, but the lowest floor and the highest floor, the difference is about 300k lah. So you can see the lowest floor, assuming purchase price 1.45 million, we can see the rental comes up to about 3.64%. And the higher floor, right, assuming you go for the highest floor, factor in that purchase price as well, you can see the rental yield is about 3%. So this would be about 1.75 million. So what's my investment recommendations? So go for low floor, because if rentability is more important, then I think you can go for a low floor unit. But do take note that you may take longer to sell, as buyers may prefer high floor units first, because all these units come with good views. So if I'm someone with the budget, I definitely will go for high floor units first as a buyer. But I do think the low floor units are okay as well because the rentability is there. And as I've mentioned, you can see that the low floor units, the rental yield is better. Alright, next, sellability, very important, low floor versus high floor. So you can see Clavon 2-bed 1-bath, 678 square feet, same stack. You can see that the profit, margins are different. So you can see in this case, level A, the profit margin was about 255k. Level 31, interesting, right? You can see the profit is only 187k. So I just want to show you that high floor does not mean better profits. Okay, so you can see Clavon 2-bed 2-bath, 764 square feet, same stack. Level 27, you can see 331k. Level 9, same stack, 341k. So high floor, I actually made 10k less. So investment recommendation, go for low floor as entry price is key. So as an investor, entry price is something that you're always looking at. It's very important, and I think it's important in this case because it's a myth that many think that high floor means better profits, because it doesn't work that way in general, because you're paying a premium for the high floor unit itself. So is that something that future buyers may pay for? Time will tell, but based on current statistics, no, it does not. So rentability, we're looking into the expressway facing, so it's also very interesting. So you can see that Clavon 2-bed 2-bath, 678 square feet, high floor. AYE facing 4,500, non-AYE facing 4,600, only $100 difference. So I think in terms of rentability, tenants are not very particular into this. I think that gives you assurance that if you're looking for investment, you can still consider the AYE facing units. So sellability again, okay. Clementi 2-bed 2-bath, 678 square feet, high floor. AYE facing, you're looking at a purchase price of 1.02 million. Non-AYE facing, you're looking at about 1.06 million. The units are about the similar floor level, 3 and 4. You see that there's a difference about 40k. So you can see that the difference in profit margins here, not much. It's only about 26,000 lah. And if we were to look at it, I think in terms of sellability, I don't think it makes a lot of difference if you are looking at AYE facing, non-AYE facing. So sellability is about similar in this aspect. Okay, so now we're looking into the 3-bed compact analysis. So what I want to show you here is that there's this B5S, so stack 4, Clementi Avenue 1 facing 7%. This type is facing here, stack 4. Okay, so 3-bed compact analysis, you can see that there's a type B5S, block 10. So Clementi Avenue 1 facing, so block 10, stack 4, it's facing this way. And you can see that this one is the other unit type. So we have stack 9 in block 12, which is also Clementi Avenue 1 facing. In terms of layout, there's a difference here. You can see for bedroom 3, right, there's a half height window, so it may not be ideal because the amount of light that you get in may not be a lot. So the quantum for this property, right, if you were to look into the different 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, you're looking at about 2.22, 2.32, 2.42, and this is considered an average, so you may be able to get something lesser. It's quite attractive for a 3-bedder in today's market. So even 2-bed plus study, Chuan Park, you're looking at 2 million already. In terms of a Clementi location, you're getting something at this price. I think it's very attractive. Okay, so 3-bedroom compact versus resale. So Clavon again, non-harmonized. You can see that this Clavon, so this is some of the transactions that were done. So this is the quantum that you're looking at, about 2 mil. So this is Elta as a comparison from what I shared earlier. So about 100 to 200k difference, right? Because here you can see that if this is the prices, you're paying about 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Is it more worth it for you to buy something new? So this is a question for you to think about. And I think if you're looking into Clavon versus Elta and you're just faced with this dilemma of about 100k difference, you get something new, is that something that you want to go for? So I think it's important to know that, is that a price that you're willing to pay? So in this case, if there's a chance for you to buy something new, I suggest that you go for something new. Okay, so 3-bedroom premium analysis. We're looking into type C2 with stack 2 and it's facing Clementi Avenue 1. So right here, we can see that's facing this way. So this is the layout itself. So you can see that the estimated prices are all indicated here. So you can see that if you were to look into the difference between the two layouts that I went through with the normal type B5S, which was this one, versus type C2P, which is the premium one, you can see that the difference for this unit type is that there's an additional study area. Then you can see there's a wet and dry kitchen. So you can see that this common toilet, right, there's no window. What does it mean? So it means that you may need to have some mechanical ventilation. So what I mean by that is that there's a chance that you may need to be mechanically ventilated. It's something that I think nowadays more and more buyers are growing accustomed to. So I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it's something that to be aware of, like something that you're not very fondly keen of, then I think you may want to avoid. So there's also less privacy if you were to stand in the middle of the living room, because you stand here, right, you can get to see all the things here. So if you're someone who values privacy, sometimes I myself have guests over at my house. I do not want them to see everything in other rooms. I just want to contain them to the living area. So I think it's important to be aware of all this as well when you're looking to buy your next property. 3-bedroom premium analysis. So this one is traditional layout for Clavon. Elta is a dumbbell layout. So you can see for Clavon, right, there's more privacy because of the traditional layout that is being used here. And also you can see resale prices, right, it's creeping up because you can see it's already transacting at around 2.1, quantum wise 2.3, 2.4. So you might consider because to get this premium unit, because there's only 36 units not much supply, and then the price point's already about there, you're able to buy something which is very transacting close to resale pricing. I think it's very safe for you. This is a unit type that I think I would recommend for you guys to consider as well. So 3-bedroom compact versus premium, right? Which one should you go And I will use Clavon as an example right again. So you can see Clavon 958 square feet, non-expressway facing. This is the profit margin, so it's about 430k. Clavon also non-expressway facing. This is the premium. So this is the profit margin. So what I want to show you here, right, is that the down payment is something that, will matter for you. Like if you're looking into, as an investor, you're looking into buying something that's, 3-bed premium, also 3-bed compact, because usually property purchases are financed by a bank loan. So down payment is the part that, is a bit more of a pain point for some investors. I think it's important to look at the ROI, which is the down payment versus the profit. So in this case, you can see that the down payment for this purchase, right, it will be about 380k, but ROI was 64%. In this the other case we're looking at, down payment is about 438k, the ROI is about 75%. So a 3-bed premium is something that you can really go for, and I think it's worth paying up the additional amount if it's something comfortable for you. Investors, right, are very sensitive about down payment. I think this is something that is very important to take note of as well. Sometimes always questions are running through your head whether I should pay the additional to go into the next unit type, or should I even go to the next unit, like from a 3-bed to a 4-bed, 3-bed compact versus a 3-bed premium. 4-bedroom analysis, type D1, block 12, stack 8, AYE facing. The other one that we have is type D2, it's Clementi Avenue 1 facing, only difference is the facing. And this one you can see there's a junior master. So these are the key differences. All the condoms are indicated here, and the facing is indicated here as well. So bedroom dual key as well, D3K, block 12, stack 5. We're looking at about 34 units, AYE facing, so it's going to be facing this way. You can see for this floor plan itself, right, there's a junior master. You can see for this floor plan itself, the main difference is this area. So because dual key so dual key is for people so whether you want this area or do you want a junior master, that's a question for you too. This is something I think very suitable for multi-generational living. Nowadays you can see that people's lifestyle is changing. What do I mean by that? Because last time dual key was something that was not very popular, but nowadays sometimes parents may want to have their kids living together with them, or vice versa. Sometimes as a family you may want to have parents to live with you as well, and then I think it's a good option to have this area for you. So I think it's something that you may want to consider. If you want, you can remove the kitchenette, then you can put in your wardrobe if you need storage, because at the end of the day there's still a kitchen here for you. So if it's something that you do not need, you can consider the configuration. I think it's something you can consider for own stay and the sellability of the dual key, I need to caution you, is low because it's something that not many people are keen to buy in this market as well. You can see for Orie itself, not many people are buying this kind of layout. The remaining units that are left behind is the dual key units. But it's something I think you can consider if the price point is right. So if it's priced right, I think you can consider if it's maybe $50 per square foot lesser. This one going about 2150, the other one is going about 2. It's something that I think you can consider and I think it will make a lot more sense for you. So 4-bedroom dual key, like what I mentioned, junior master, individual studio, multi-generational living. Also I got balcony. So this is something I think is very interesting because for studio you can still get a balcony. I think it's very nice. So you can consider for own stay like what I mentioned. Okay, so lastly, 4-bed plus study. We are looking at AYE facing, so this is stack 13. So we can see stack 13 is here, and then it's the estimated price. Okay, so 4-bedroom plus study analysis. If I were to compare it with Clavon, right, because this is a portrait living area, so I would prefer if it's something more, landscape. But because something for this kind of quantum, right, we need to understand what's the buyer profile. People are looking at, a wider landscape living area. And then there's no private lift for this quantum. So it has a nice master bedroom. I think that's something I want to highlight to you guys as well. If you want to see, the master bedroom is here. So it's very nice. Master bath is tucked here. So I think the layout is pretty nice. And buyers in this quantum range, there are some people value livability. They don't really look into, price as much. Not saying it doesn't matter, it still matters. But there are people who are more comfortable, to have a livable space. Now we have come to the last unit type, which is the 5-bedroom. So there's only about, 35 units, one stack. So it's about 1776 square feet. It's AYE facing as well. So you can see it's here. Then you can see there's a good things I want to highlight to you guys is that the living area is very wide, so dining is also very wide as well. So there's 2 times junior master, but something as a pain point, there's no private lift. So 4-bed plus study also no private lift. So Elta in general, there's no private lifts. So if I'm a buyer looking into this quantum, I think private lift is very important. You can see in the case of Sora, the 5-beders come with a private lift. Even EOK have private lift. I think people buying into this quantum may consider. So I think this adds to the grand factor for the buyers looking into this quantum. And the thing I want to highlight to you guys is that there's no sub-sale transactions yet. So there's a higher holding power in general for people buying these kind of units. So stay connected with me again. So I think if anything, do feel free to reach out to me. This is my Telegram channel. So thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. I do hope that you got some good insights into what you should look at. So do feel free to reach out to me if you do need any advice on whether Elta is a suitable project for you, or even if you should be considering a resale. End of the day, I think different people have different needs. No two buyers are the same. So it's all about, finding the right fit for you guys. And I'm more than happy to explore together. So do reach out to me via my WhatsApp link below. Thank you all so much and stay tuned for my next one. Adios, amigos!